We're talking about year-end business reviews and how to make sure you're doing it properly. Life is lived forwards, but it's understood backwards. If we're constantly just looking forwards, we're actually missing out on a lot of understanding that we could really use in order to grow our business going into the future. What is actually the best service that my business was offering this year? The 5 questions that Christy and I often ask ourselves that really help you recap what happened this year in your business. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Rise podcast. So glad you're here. We took last week off and we're back. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today because we're talking about year-end business reviews and how to make sure you're doing it properly. The questions you need to ask in order to make sure your photo business, your video business, your design business, your content creator business is on the right track for 2026. And how we do that is actually by looking backwards. So glad you're here. Like I said, we missed out on last week. Last week was a hectic week in our personal lives. We're going to tell you more about that next week on the podcast. So next week's going to be a very, very important episode. Would love to see you guys there. It's going to be awesome to share with you guys what's going on. And some really just good stuff, some hard stuff. But point is, we took last week off, which is the first time we've taken a break from the podcast in years, actually. So it felt a little bit weird to not have an episode going out, but that's life, right? That is life. But we're back. It's just me this week. I can't wait to chat with you guys about what's going to be going on. Christy is actually out right now. She couldn't make it to this episode because she's picking up some camera gear. We're flying down to San Diego in the morning. We got a shoot. We're flying back from San Diego tomorrow night. So it's just like a down and back. Life is really, really busy right now. I'm sure it is for you. We're going into the holidays. But what I want you to do is listen to this episode, and I want to urge you to think about the stuff that I'm actually talking about, how it applies to your business, and give yourself time to actually think about it. So I have been a professional photographer and filmmaker, a content agency owner, brand strategist now since 2014, professionally, full-time. It's been my job, and I've owned the company since 2014. And one of the things that I have gotten wrong year over year is I get so excited and think about what's coming up that I fail to actually think about what happened in the year prior or the year that is ending. And the year that is ending actually has a lot of stuff to share with us, a lot of stuff to tell us. And this is something that Christy said a couple weeks ago. I thought it was brilliant. I wanted to share it on the podcast today. It's this reframe right here. Life is lived forwards, but it's understood backwards. And so if we're constantly just looking forwards, we're actually missing out on a lot of understanding that we could really use in order to grow our business going into the future. So life is lived forwards, but it's understood backwards. And so what I want to really do today is walk you through this episode, breaking down the 5 questions that Christy and I often ask ourselves and urge you to ask yourself as well, that really help you recap what happened this year in your business and figure out how you can increase and improve your business going into 2026. So let's wrap up 2025 with this. So here's the deal right here, okay? So most creatives, like I said, hit the end of the year and they ask, what's going to happen next year? Where are my jobs coming in for the next quarter? And rather than looking back, this is going to be the 5 questions. I'm super excited to jump on into it. So the goal of these questions, just real quick, the goal of these questions that I'm going to break down for you is actually not to be like, oh, that's cool, Joey, that sounds great, but it's actually to answer them in your head, figure them out. So don't let this be a podcast that you just listen to and we're like, wow, that was inspiring. Wow, that was insightful. Actually do something about it, okay? So here's what we're going to do in each question. Every question I'm going to share with you, we're going to break down why this question matters, what we often get wrong, how to think about the question properly, and what's one actionable thing you can do in order to actually take action on the question, okay? So here's question number 1. The first question you should be asking yourself about 2025 is the question, did my business actually make money or was I just busy? And you might be saying, well, Joey, I know my business made money. I did 70 grand this year. I did my first $100,000 this year. Christy and I have it. I don't know where it went. It was just right here. We just deposited a $24,000 check from one of our clients. Same client. We're actually going tomorrow morning down to shoot for San Diego. It's easy to look at things like that. Oh, I know the checks are coming in. I know the money's coming in. I can look at my QuickBooks and said I did $100,000 a year. I made my first 50 grand. But the question is, did you actually make any money though? Did the business actually make any money? Here's the difference. A business earning money and making money are two different things. A business earning money is earned revenue. A business making money is profit. It's making the money, it's keeping it, right? And those are very, very important things. It's very important you understand the difference between that. So most people get wrong. Here's what most people get wrong about question number one. They celebrate top line numbers and they actually don't look into the numbers any deeper. And so what I want you to think about is I want you to find your revenue, find your expenses, find your profit number, which then tells you your profit margin, which is like a percentage. And then the last part of that is then you get to figure out if you can actually get paid by the business. Did the business pay you? As the owner, are you taking any owner pay home at the end of the year, right? And that's a very important thing. So owner pay is really the term of, are you getting paid from the business based on how much profit the business is earning? So for a very standard creative business, let's say you're a photographer, a filmmaker, a content creator, social media manager, a designer, and let's say you're making between $50,000 to $100,000 a year. Well, here's some profit numbers, some owner pay numbers that you should really be considering and asking yourself where you fall in this. So if you are getting paid 40 to 50% of what your business makes, if you're getting paid that, 40 to 50% of owner pay is coming to you. So let's say you make $100,000 in a year and $40,000 to $50,000 is what you're taking home in actual pay to you personally. That is excellent. That's very, very high. That is a great, great, great number. That's an industry high number, okay? 30% to 40% is good. It's good. That's like where you should fall. That is like the ballpark for everybody. That's actually where Christy and I fall personally in our business. Our business, we tend to actually get paid out in profit between our salary and then the distributions we take as owners. We tend to take home about 37%, okay, in owner pay at the end of the year. 20 to 30% is like, you got to be cautious. I would love to see that number go up. It's not great, but it's not brutal. If you're taking home less than 20% and you're only making $50,000 to $100,000 a year, that is where you definitely have a red flag. You have a profit problem, okay? So what I would like to encourage you to think about is, where do I fall in that? 40 to 50% is excellent. 30 to 40% is healthy. 20 to 30% is cautiously good. And under 20% is the danger zone, okay? So I want you to think about that. And then here's the action step for question number one, okay? The action step is, I want you to go home, stop the car wherever you are listening, put down, cancel out of Lightroom for 10 minutes as you're editing a project, as you're listening to this podcast. And what I want you to do is actually calculate your revenue, then calculate your expenses, calculate your profit, and then calculate what are you taking home? What is the actual owner compensation for the business for this year? That is a very, very important question. Like I said, you should be aiming for at least 30 to 40%. Now, as your business grows, that number can shrink, right? If you're taking home 50% of $100,000, that's great. But if you're taking home 35% of $350,000, that's better. The number shrank, but the business size was much bigger, right? So as your business grows, it's quite normal. So do your expenses, and your take home might look smaller on paper in terms of a percentage, but at the end of the day, you're still taking home more money. So it's important you guys figure out where you are in that and answer that question. Question number one, did my business actually make money, or was I just busy? You got to answer that. Now, question number two is, where did my money actually come from? The second question you need to be asking yourself at the end of a year is, where did my money actually come from? A lot of people get this wrong, us included, when we're not sharp about this, we're not thinking about this. But a lot of us get this wrong when we don't actually think about what services are making us the most money. What services are our highest performing services? Maybe you thought it was your senior sessions this year, but if you really zoom out, it was actually your 3-day, multi-day wedding package, right? Maybe you thought it was your social, short-form social videos you were clipping for businesses on a monthly basis, but maybe it was actually your headlining films you shot, your 2-minute headlining films you shot for businesses this year. You need to ask yourself the question, what is actually the best service that my business was offering this year? And the reason why this question is really important is because if you don't break this down, sometimes we end up pushing rocks uphill in the wrong direction. And at the end of the year, we get there and we're like, dang, I just repeated last year. My business only did $5,000 or $10,000 more than it did in 2024. What happened? Well, it's probably because you were focused on the least leverageable or the lower leverageable services rather than doubling down on the things that are most profitable and most valuable to your clients. So it's really important you think about it this way, okay? Break down revenue per offer. So think about all the different things you offer. Maybe you shoot headlining films as a filmmaker. Maybe you shoot short-form social videos as a filmmaker. Maybe you shoot testimonial videos. Think about all these different things and categorize them and go, what percentage of my revenue came from each of these offers? If you're in the wedding space, maybe it's Did I sell more of package 1, package 2, package 3? Did I have a bunch of album upsells this year? What other upsells was I selling? What are your most leverageable services? Make sure you understand those. Now, here's the deal. This is what's really important to think about though. When you then look at those, I want you to figure out what is the highest profit. And then I want you to think about what's the highest stress. Because here's the deal. Sometimes what looks like to be our best in our winning services or offers, the thing that made our business the most money, might actually be contributing to you personally or to the business the most amount of stress. And it's actually not the best and high performing offer in your business. So example, sometimes you might think, oh, well, my destination wedding offer was the best offer I had. It took me to 6 different countries this year. I feel like I made a good amount of money doing it. But let's say that it just backlogged you because you were traveling and it was hectic and the dream was wedding, destination wedding photography. But at the end of the day, you look back in this year and you're like, that was kind of hectic and I missed my family. I missed my dog. I don't know if I like that as much, right? Give it a score. So here's what I want you to do. Rank it for profit. Like how on a scale of 1 to 10, how profitable was that service? And then rank it for stress on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressful was that service? And what I want you to do is give all of your services a score based on what I just said. How good was the profit and how devastating was the stress? And what this is going to do is it's going to alleviate some of the confusion around what you really should be focusing on and what's most leverageable to your business. So here's the action. List at least your top 3 services and make sure you ask which one you should be protecting and doubling down on, or which one you should be going, I don't think I need to be doing as much of that this next year, and look to shift your energy into a different part of your business, okay? Question number 3, where was my business most proactive and where was it most reactive? Now, here's the difference between a proactive and a reactive business. A proactive business is you actually planned for it and it worked. So example, the flight I'm taking tomorrow morning with Christy. We're going now to shoot for a client that Christy and I have had for a long time, 5 years plus. And we do a lot of shoots with them in a year. A lot of them get planned out a couple months in advance. And we know this client is going to be committing to a certain amount of work for us as the beverage brand, a certain amount of work for us this year. And so that is very proactive. We get to schedule that out. We know it's coming. We can pitch them new ideas and try and get them to do even more work with us, right? Hey, what do you think about this Hawaii, campaign? Hey, do you want to send us there? Like, we get to be proactive in that way. Versus a reactive business model is where you sit at home, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for somebody to email you and say, hey, can you come and shoot this concert tonight? Can you shoot these family, portraits or sessions tonight? That is a reactive business when you're sitting there waiting for work to come to you. Now, here's the difference between those. Proactive businesses often have systems involved. Proactive businesses often have recurring clients involved. Proactive businesses often have recurring checks and money coming in. Or reactive businesses, you're stuck often thinking about where your next month's work's going to come from or where 2026. Maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I'm listening to this, Joey. I don't even know what 2026 is going to be like. I have nothing planned, right? You might be in a reactive business model. So here's what you really need to focus on to get out of reactivity and focus on proactivity in this year. But here's what I want you to think about. Where this year did my business fall into a reactive state? Okay. Was it with my lead generation system, my marketing system? Were you just waiting for people to come to you? Was it with your clients? You were reacting to clients coming to you, and therefore it was a lot of one-offs rather than you going out and pitching and really making sure your offers are solid and going out to the marketplace and building a recurring client base or just a really strong client base that's referring you a lot. Did you have a good upsell strategy, or did you just wait for clients to ask you about upsells? These are questions you need to be asking yourself when you really ponder, is your business more proactive or is it more reactive? Okay. So here's the action. I want you to think about your revenue by client. Think about, was it recurring? Was it return to business? Was it referral business? Or was it one-off business? And that's probably going to show you, if it's one of the first couple, it's going to show you were more proactive. If it's one-offs and you're constantly waiting for your next client to come to you, you are living in a reactive model. Okay. And then I want you to think about, did you control your lead flow? Did you control your marketing? Were you able to turn on a machine, turn on a system, put a little bit of effort in and see a bunch of leads come to you? Or were you constantly worried, anxious, and stressed about if anyone was actually going to reach out to you that week, month, or quarter? If you are on the latter side of that, you are in a reactive model. And so you need to make sure you're switching out of a reactive model into a proactive model going for 2026. So question number 3, was my business proactive or was it reactive? That's a big one to think about. Question number 4, this is a really fun one. This is a super good question to think about. This is one that I will admit personally, Christy and I have not done always the best job of focusing on. We often forget about this question. So I've made sure to include it in here because Christy and I are having this conversation for sure this year as we wrap up 2025 going into 2026. But this is the question number 4, you need to be asking yourself going into 2026 is, if the business doubled in size, if my revenue doubled in size for next year, would my stress double too? And if the answer to that is yes, well, then you got a problem. You got a problem. I got a problem. We need to solve that, right? So why this matters? Well, scalable creative businesses absorb growth. When new growth comes, when new leads come, you start selling new projects or clients sign on for not just 3 months, but they want to sign 12-month contracts. Does that make your stress levels rise? Or are you like, yeah, that's great. We got the systems for it, right? So fragile businesses get crushed by business growth. So if you actually grew your business this year and you actually are getting to the end of this year and you feel crushed, that is a good indicator that you do not have the right systems in place right now in your business to actually handle the growth that you wanted or the growth that you're wanting for 2026. So we often assume that if our businesses grow, things are going to get easier. But for most of us, as business grows, we actually get more stressed because our systems are not in the right place in order to handle that and absorb that growth, right? So here's the way I want you to think about it. The clearest way I want you to think about it. Where does stress increase as I get busier? So as projects are coming in or as life gets busier, as we go into the holidays, where are the areas in my business that I feel I get the most stressed about? That is going to shine a light on areas of your business that you probably don't have great systems in. Therefore, it's making you stressed, okay? What breaks or gets left behind when you get busy? Is it your marketing? Is it your bookkeeping? Is it your financials? Are you forgetting to pay your taxes? Is it your editing and fulfillment? You're getting backlogged and backlogged and backlogged. This is a Creative Rise Mastermind grad we have. Love the guy to death. Great filmmaker, wedding filmmaker. He and I have had so many conversations over the years where he's like, dude, I'm just so stressed. I'm like 14 months behind on my wedding film deliveries because I keep selling, I keep getting new jobs, I keep flying around the world shooting these awesome wedding films. I just cannot edit them at the fast enough pace. And so I'm getting really backlogged and it's making me nervous because clients are asking about it. And we've had the same conversation over and over and over again. I'm like, dude, when you get busy, you get the most stressed about editing. That means you need better editing systems. You can't keep doing business the way you're doing this, right? So I want you to think about this. Here's the action item. Identify one system, one role or process that needs to change in order to handle the growth that you want going into 2026 as a photographer, as a filmmaker, as a graphic designer, as a social media manager, a content creator. What is that one system in your business that as you get busier, you get more stressed? That is the thing that you need to spend a little bit of time over these holidays, over the new year, really focusing on, or even maybe before the holidays, take this next week and do it, to really focus in on making a difference so that you can have a different result in 2026 without increasing your stress, okay? So question number 4, if revenue doubled, would my stress double too? Here's the last question. Question number 5, this is a great one. This is really future forward. What's one change that would make next year easier and more profitable? So what is one thing that I could do before we roll into next year that would make next year easier and more profitable? That's leverage, right? Something that's easier and something that at the same time becomes more profitable. So why does this matter? Well, because most people, including myself and Christy, we make the mistake of trying to change everything. Oh, Joey, this was a great episode. Or Christy and I have a conversation. We all fired up. Maybe we have dinner. We set this cool meal up and we have these questions and her and I start talking through this stuff and we get really excited. It's a great experience. And then we start trying to work on it all and nothing actually changes, right? You might be living in that. Maybe you did that last year. Maybe you did that the year before. Maybe you're already recognizing you're doing that this year. What you need to do is ask yourself this right here. From this podcast, what question stuck out to me the most? And that's probably a good indicator that that's the question, that's the system that I should focus on really making sure I fix or I understand better or I hire someone to help me do it or I set better standards and guidelines and work structure for myself to be able to complete that better? What is the one question that we just talked about right now that is really sticking out to you? What's causing the most pain through this conversation? What's causing the most inspiration for you through this conversation? Is it leads? Is it getting better marketing systems? Is it doubling down on your socials this year to get more leads coming in from there? Is it redoing your website? Is it hiring a bookkeeper because you're already stressed about the 2025 tax season? Is it your conversions? Is it making sure I know I'm getting a lot of leads, but a lot of them are ghosting me? Is it fixing that problem, right? Is it your work capacity? Is it you need to buy something like this, just like me, because you got ADHD and this is a little timer. You set your time, you turn it on, and it helps you work. You get to race the clock, right? What is the thing that you need to be focusing on right now that is going to set you up really, really well for next year to be easier and more profitable? Choose one thing and be like, I'm going to get this done before at least the end of Q1 next year, which is like March 2026. But it's even better if you get it done prior to the new year so you can roll into 2026 alive and fired up for new business growth. So I'm going to recap real quick. Here is the 5 questions. Number 1, did my business actually make money or was I just busy? Number 2, where did my money actually come from? Okay, understanding that's super important. Question number 3, was my business proactive or was it reactive? Question number 4, if revenue doubled, could I actually handle it? Or would it crush me? Would my stress double too? Question number 5, what's one change that would make next year easier on you? These are the same questions Christy and I are having conversations about right now. I hope this has been super helpful for you. If you are just sitting here and you're like, man, so many good things in this episode, and I feel like a lot of the things, Joey, you just talked about have crushed me this last year. I don't know if my business doubled, if I'd be able to handle the stress. I don't know that when I get busy and I can clearly identify the things that I know aren't working, I don't know if I know how to fix those, right? Well, if you want to make 2026 the best year you've ever had, we got good news for you. We have the next round 15. That's insane to say that it's round 15. It's been over 6.5 years of running this. Come the next time we launch this, round 15 of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind is launching in Q1 of 2026. It's going to be around mid-February, early March. Dates are going to be coming out soon. We're super excited about this. If you're new to the show, you're new to Creative Rise, you found us on socials, you don't even know what the Mastermind is. Well, basically, 6 and a bit years ago, back in 2019, I took a look at my 6-figure business. Christy took a look at hers, and we asked ourselves the questions. In the wedding space, which is where Christy comes from, in the brand commercial space, which is where I come from, what are these 6 things? If we could boil it all down to 6 things, what are the 6 things that if you could build these pillars into your creative business on the business side, right? Not creatively. We already know you're good creatively. On the business side, could it help somebody grow their business to build a 6-figure business foundation? And so we tested it. We tested it back in July or August of 2019, and it really, really helped the small batch of creators that we tested it with. And since then, we have run that same mastermind 14 times. Over 400 creators have gone through it. Over 100 6-figure businesses have been made. It's been so epic. Multiple dozens of multi-6-figure businesses, $200,000 plus. People that are photographers, filmmakers, graphic designers, social media managers, and strategists, web designers, content creators and influencers. It's been an awesome experience and catalyst for those people to take the same things that have helped Christy and I grow our businesses and continue to do so. Like I just told you, it's in that drawer right back there, but we just got a $24,000 check from a client the other day, right? We're ending this year on a really, really high note. This has been another great year. The beginning of this year was also wild. The beginning of this year was the first time we ever had our first ever $100,000 month. February of 2025 was a $108,000 month, which is insane. We actually made a whole YouTube video about it. If you want to go to our YouTube, you can find it on there and hear us talk about it. It was awesome. But point is, the same things that are helping Christy and I have $100,000 months or, get checks, $24,000 checks, our shoot that we're going on tomorrow down in San Diego. It's going to be about a $15,000 budget for that shoot, which is super cool. And those things come from having the right pillars installed into your business. And I'll tell you what those pillars are real quick. We don't gatekeep them. Number 1 is understanding that you actually have the right offers, you're selling the right things, the right services, and they're priced well. That is pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is that you then brand those offers. Make sure that you are building a brand that is really desirable to your ideal client. It's speaking clearly to them about what you are doing and how it's solving problems for them, whether it's in the wedding space or the commercial space. Pillar number 3 is then how you take those offers and you go bring them to the world. You network, you build industry relationships. Pillar number 4 is how you then market your business. Lead generation. If you don't know how to control your lead generation, you are going to be a reactive business till the cows come home. You do not want to be like that. So getting the whole 4-part part lead generation system installed into your business so that you can actually have people coming to you wanting to work with you. Pillar number 5 is then learning how to sell on those offers, okay? So you've built the offers, priced them, you've then learned how to brand them, you've then learned how to network them, you've then learned how to market them. Pillar number 5 is then you have to learn sales. You have to learn sales as a creative, which is often a very awkward thing. And we've got some really good sales systems that are really approachable and help you still be you while selling really efficiently. That's pillar number 5. Pillar number 6 is then learning how to scale all of that. We teach you all of that in 6 weeks in community, done with people. So you never feel alone. You get support the whole time from Christy and I and 35 other businesses. We only take about 35 to 36 businesses every time we do it so that it can be intimate and you actually get the support and structure you need from Christy and I and the rest of the crew. And it's super cool. It's all in 6 weeks. So if you want to learn how to build a 6-figure business foundation for your business, whether you're at 70 and you want to cross the $100,000 mark right now, this next year, whether you're at 20, whether you're at 10, you want to go to your first 50, 60, whether you're already doing 100, but you feel like it needs a lot of work because it feels very reactive and you constantly feel anxious and stressed, you're going to lose it. We got this. We can help you, okay? The 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind is coming up February or March of 2026. More details coming about that soon, but really excited for 2026, guys. Like I said at the beginning of the show, next week's episode is going to be really, really important. You tune in for that. It's going to be launching next week. We're super excited to release that one. Going to be giving you guys a little bit of an update on us and also sharing about something Creative Rise is doing we've not done in a long, long time that you get to be a part of, which is awesome. So we'll see you guys then. And I got to go get some food. I'm starving. It's dinner time. I hope you guys are having a great day. See you next week.